he has no chance. His political career is over. I think in his heart he thinks he's going to come back.
Yeah, well, of course he does. Yeah, of course he does.
It's kind of a mixed message, isn't it?
Let's talk about Boris Johnson and his WhatsApp messages. They have not been handed over. The COVID inquiry demanded them. The Cabinet Office lost an appeal against handing them over, but Johnson has not handed them over anyway. Supposedly, this is because he's forgotten the PIN number on his phone.
The idea that a password is lost is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. It's like as if we're not in a country that has GCHQ in it. Mm-hmm. Right? If they want, they can open his phone and find out what's in it. But there's no public will for it.
Do you not think? I think there's a bit of public will to know what's on his...
Sorry, what I meant to say is political will.
Right.
He has no chance. His political career is over. I think in his heart he thinks he's going to come back.
Yeah, well, of course he does. Yeah, of course he does.
It's kind of a mixed message, isn't it? He
Yeah.
got the biggest win the Tories have had since Thatcher in the early 80s. And then his party dump him out 18 months later. Which just means, like, on a one-to-one, he must be truly awful. Like, really awful. A really, really awful person. For the Tories to throw a rainmaker out a window.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Look, Madeline, on the phone. I mean, I think my favourite interpretation of what's going on is the idea that maybe it was just one of his kids' birthdays, and then it's like, well, that's it could be almost anything. Exactly. Yeah. What do you think about the? I mean, specifically the WhatsApp thing.
Yeah.
Do you think is this just sort of like a terrible scandal? We shouldn't joke about it. This is a sort of free public information thing. Man who was in office is refusing to disclose information about the most significant thing to have happened in Britain in perhaps the last 50 years.
Well, I think it's possible for it to be both very serious and also deeply, deeply funny, which this is. I mean, it's sort of very Wagatha Christie of him. Like, you half expect him to accidentally drop it over the side of a North Sea ferry. I think it's actually... I mean, the inquiry... I fear that the inquiry will trundle on forever. We'll never get answers, that they will ask the wrong questions. And like all public inquiries, an enormous amount of money will be spent on it. And then after a decade, the people involved will have moved on, and there won't be kind of the kind of learnings, as the current parlance is, will not happen as a result. And also that Boris Johnson himself created this terrible rod for his own back, because he made the inquiry's scope so broad, its remit so enormous, that Baroness Hallett could basically ask for literally anything.
Yeah.
And I wish, I worry that the inquiry will founder for quite different reasons. I accept that having set up the inquiry in such a way, of course, Boris should comply. But I think for me, the bigger fear is that it ends up being a completely pointless exercise in which we don't learn much from it.
Well, so Sweden got their COVID inquiry done in 4 months.
Yeah.
They'd finished their inquiry before we'd even started this. But it is classic Boris Johnson that what he always did was he basically said yes to every question. He kicked the can down the road.
Yes.
He didn't want to have any fights about what the inquiry could do while he was setting it up. So he was like, well, it can do everything.
Precisely.
But presumably as well, the messages that he's not handing over because he's lost the password, and you can't really say something in inverted commas on the radio, but let's just assume I am doing that. The messages he's not handing over, like, he has sent to other people, right? They can presumably get them from somewhere else.
They can, whoever it was. I guess maybe they wouldn't know who the other people were without having the full cache of his WhatsApps.
Yeah.
Again, from watching 24 Hours in Custody, the Channel 4 programme, that's all doable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's presumably they need some sort of warrant. There's probably some sort of legal loopholes that they have to jump through, but it's all achievable if they want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think you're saying that, it's a rod for his back how wide the inquiry is. But I think that's, again, was game playing on his part.
Completely.
If I make it so big, they won't know where to begin, where to end, how to start. You know what I mean? And it's just muddying the waters.
It's the path of least resistance every turn, which he always takes, and it sort of comes back to bite him.